Hey, this is Ryan Canfield. Just got this stick done up at Stylin strings, and it didn't have that much whip, so I was just wondering how to put more whip into it.
Hey y'all, and thank you for joining us on this week's installment of the Stylin Strings Question of the Week. Now, if I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to put extra whip into a stick, I might as well just explain the whole process anyway. So, I'm going to go ahead and make you guys a few drawings on my handy dandy notebook here, and show you guys how to make a medium whip stick, heavy whip stick, and low whip stick. Now, there's two main factors that play a role. Your shooting strings, and how taut they are, and what degree of slope they give the ball as it comes out, and ball placement in the pocket, where you put your sweet spot. Heavy whip sticks usually have the sweet spot for the ball right underneath the bottom shooting string, medium obviously in the middle, and low whip sticks usually have it down closer towards the ball stop. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start with the low whip stick. We'll end up with a high whip, and I'll just show you guys how to tighten that off. Alright, time for a little bit of art class here. Now, a good analogy for whip is sort of like a biker going off of a ramp. Now, let's take Biker Billy here for instance. And no, my art skills aren't that great. Now, let's say he's going off of a ramp that is very, very steep. As he goes off of it, he's going to catch a lot of air, but probably not go that far forward. Now, if Biker Billy takes the same amount of speed and goes off of a more gently sloped ramp, he's probably going to go a lot farther, but not quite as high. This is representative of a massive amount of whip, and this down here is representative of a lower amount of whip. As you turn your stick and put the force out, this is going to pop out in front of the lip of your stick. This is going to pop out more in the same direction that you're pointing the lip of your stick. Now, a good place for your sweet spot would be right down here towards the ball stop. And you want a really gently sloping pocket up towards the lip of your stick. Now, the shooting strings here aren't going to have too much difference in how loose or taut they are, but they will be more taut towards the top and more loose towards the bottom. But as you'll see later with a higher whip stick, there's a lot of difference, which actually creates the whip and how steep the slope is. But you want to keep this all sort of relative, just a 1, 2, 3, up here towards the bottom. And as long as you keep this sweet spot down here, the rest of the pocket should pretty much fall in line for you. This is going to give you a real nice, smooth release pass. You're going to be able to throw the ball a lot farther, but not nearly as hard. You're not taking any shots with this pocket right here. Alright, now for the medium whip stick. This is for your all-around player. If you're a young player, I suggest you use this until you get good control over your ball handling skills. But for the most part, this is your all-around norm of whip. This is what we send out everything from Stylin strings with, and we hope that the consumer will adjust it properly. But this is your average Joe pocket right here. Similar concept, except we're going to want to put a little bit more of a slope in our shooting strings. We're going to take the ball and put the sweet spot a little bit below middle. Yeah, I know that's not how normal balls look, but let's just let it slide. And you're going to see a little bit more gentle of a slope coming from the back of the stick, and in turn a little bit more steep of a slope coming up to the front of it. Something a little bit like that. Now, your shooting strings are going to have a little bit more difference in length. The top shooting string will probably be just about where the low one was, but then you're going to need to slope them a little bit more. This is going to give you more whip and more of a slant as the ball leaves the pocket, which will result in a little bit more torque and control when shooting. This would be a good stick for a midi, but if you're going to be in any sort of serious scoring position, I would go ahead and give yourself high whip and start adjusting to it. Now for the question at hand, guys. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to draw you another picture just so you get the concept down straight, but then we'll do the real thing and I'll show you guys how to adjust your shooting strings for the appropriate amount of whip. Hopefully you can go through and take the concepts from the previous drawings and give your stick the appropriate amount of whip, whether that's low, medium, or high. Now, to critique your stick so that it has a massive amount of whip, we're going to want to first place the ball right above the middle spot on the stick. Now this is all really exaggerated just to prove the point. You'll see the real thing here in a minute. Now, our pocket is actually going to look somewhat inverse to the low whip pocket. And that is because we're actually trying to do the exact opposite. As you can see, the low whip pocket had the steep slope in the back and took advantage of the gentle slope in the front. We're just flipping that. Now, the shooting strings in a high whip pocket have a huge differential. So the first one's going to be pretty much the same tautness as all the other pockets that we've talked about. The second one is going to be much more loose, creating, like I said, a steeper slope. And the third one, not to say that it's useless, but it is very loose. And it actually sits right above the sweet spot on the ball. That's the main purpose of that shooting string, is to actually get the ball off of the mesh and basically give it a little bit of a pop before it hits these other two, since the slant is so great. Now, this is going to be your shooter pocket. If you want to do a really nice crank shot, I'm going to suggest that you get the whip in your stick and start getting used to it. Now, you can see here the difference in shooting strings. Not too much looser as you go down, much looser as you go down, and then of course the medium somewhere here in the middle. Alright, so now we're going to incorporate this into a real stick. Now, hopefully you can go through and take the skills that I'm about to show you and give yourself the appropriate amount of whip, whether that's low, medium, or high. But the first step in adjusting a stick is to undo all of the shooting strings so that when you stretch the pocket, they can move accordingly. Now, since we're trying to put high whip into a stick, I'm actually going to keep the top shooting string tied, and since this one's a little bit loose for my liking, I'm going to tighten it up a little bit beforehand anyway. So, either take your ball, your butter knife, or your pocket screw, however you want to do it, and get that ready. Now, we want to move the sweet spot up right underneath the bottom shooting string. Now, stretch it out to where you want it. Always make the pocket a little bit deeper than legal regulation, because as you take out your pounder and use the pocket, it's going to shrink up a little bit on you. I'm just going to angle this pocket screw up a little bit so we get the sweet spot right where we want it. Yeah, right there should be fine. As you can see, it looks very similar to our drawing, and I'm going to go wet this down, and then you just let it dry, and hopefully the whip should be adjusted properly. Tighten off your shooting strings, and when it's all said and done, there's probably going to be some minor adjustments you need to do once you go out and hit the wall. But there you go. That's basically how it goes. Alright everybody, thank you for joining me on this edition of the Stylin Strings Question of the Week. I'm Justin Skaggs, and this has been brought to you by lacrosse and Stylin Strings String Cheese TV. Now, before I go, I want to mention we're going to give a 20% discount to all of our customers online. Just enter the summer promo code SUMMER2009 and we'll give you 20% off on any pocket or die job for the remainder of the summer. Alright, well thank you guys for watching. Have a good day and keep laxing.